Hello and welcome back to the Wasteland, everybody. Welcome back to New Vegas, where today we're going to be going over all of the pistols and the submachine guns, at least the unique versions of them. And we're going to be ranking them as to how hard they are to find. I'm going to be ranking these from 1 to 5, 1 being the absolute easiest. Pretty much you're guaranteed to get it any run that you do. You don't really have to look for it. 5 being ones that are very difficult to actually find. I'm going to be doing this for all the weapons in New Vegas, but there is a lot of unique weapons. So today we're just going to be covering the pistols and submachine guns. Next time I'm going to probably be covering like the shotguns and the rifles. I'm also going to be going over how to get these weapons as well. So let's just go right down the list. First up, we have Lucky, which is the unique 357 revolver. And Lucky is a really cool gun. It's one of my absolute favorite guns. It looks awesome, and you can find this one pretty easily. For this one, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Lucky can be obtained in Prim, which is probably going to be the first location you go after Good Springs, since it's just right down the road from it, and it's where the main quest is leading you anyway. You can find this in the Steve Bison Hotel, and this is located in the gift shop. The gift shop has a safe in it. That's where Lucky can be found, and the safe is locked by a hard lock, meaning that you're going to need to have 75 or higher lockpicking to get in there. That's the main reason why I'm saying this is a 3 out of 5 in terms of difficulty. This isn't a very difficult weapon to actually get, assuming that you have high enough lockpicking or you have a way to cheat out high enough lockpicking. You can do this thanks to magazines. Magazines will give you plus 10 to your lockpicking skill. Plussing your perception can also do this, so like glasses or hats can sometimes do that. There's also some other armors that give you lockpicking or clothing that give you lockpicking. And if you have comprehension, then that will jump up the magazines from 10 to 20. So you can get in there a whole lot easier. And Lucky is a fantastic weapon to get early on. It does good damage. It does good damage per second. 357 is pretty common. You can load 38 special into this too, which is also fairly common in the early game. This requires no guns and only 3 strength to wield, so most characters are going to be able to wield it, and it looks really cool. It's arguably the coolest designed pistol in the entire game. Up next, we have the unique 44, the Mysterious Magnum. Now this one, for an overall difficulty rating, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Depending on how you want to get this one, because this is on an NPC. If you just go north of Novak, where you're going to be going anyway for the main story, then you can find the Lonesome Drifter out there. He's just sitting next to a sign. He's got his guitar up. There's a fire burning there. He's just off to the side of the road. He's just before the 188 trading station. So you can just go up and talk to him. Now you can get this one a couple different ways. You can reverse pickpocket him, give him something better, and then pickpocket him and take the revolver off of him. That works. You could pickpocket him, take the 44 bullets off of him, and then he'll unequip the 44, and then you can pickpocket that off of him. You could potentially just kill him and take it, which is by far the easiest way if you just don't really care. Or you can complete the talent pool quest, which is available at the Tops Casino when you're looking for talent. You also need to pass a barter check then, which requires 50 barter. So depending on how you want to get this can be a 1 out of 5 if you're just going to kill him, take it, not really care about the quest. But if you are going to be doing the quest, then that at least adds a little bit more to it. But it's not a super difficult skill check to pass, assuming that you got decent enough barter, or again, another way to cheat out your barter, then that works. Or if you're willing to pickpocket him, in which case then this can be more difficult, since pickpocketing from NPCs can sometimes not go very well if you don't have really high sneak. But the Mysterious Magnum is another really good handgun. It does really high damage, uses the 44 round. It plays music whenever you pull it out or put it away, which is a lot of people's favorite part of this gun. It also counts as an improved holdout weapon too, so if you have 50 sneak, you can sneak this in, and this is one of the most powerful holdout weapons that you can get in New Vegas. Up next, we have a Light Shining in Darkness. This is Joshua Graham's unique pistol. This is his unique 45, and this one I would have to give a 1 out of 5, simply because you're guaranteed to get this one if you go through all of Zion. So all you have to do is finish Honest Hearts. It doesn't matter how you finish it, so long as you finish it, then you are guaranteed all of the unique items there. And that includes a Light Shining in Darkness, which is arguably one of the best pistols in the game. This one has really high damage per second, a very fast reload, above average crit chance. It's really good in a VATS build. The 45 rounds are actually pretty versatile too. If you get like hand loader, you can load super rounds into this. It does only hold 6 shots, but that doesn't really matter when it reloads super quick. On top of that, it's also affected by the Grunt perk, so you can get 25% more damage thanks to that. This is a fantastic weapon, but it's not a very difficult weapon to get. Up next, we have That Gun, which is the unique 5.56 pistol, but it was actually in the game before the 5.56 pistol was introduced at all. The 5.56 pistol is also sort of unique. It's one of the Gunrunner's arsenal weapons, which can only be obtained by buying them through vendors that might have them. That gun, however, you can just get normally. This one I would give a 2 out of 5. This one's actually pretty easy to get too. It's not very difficult, and it's in a location where you're guaranteed to go. You just sort of have to go out of your way to get it. So this one is available in Novak. You can either buy this one or you can steal this one. And either way, it's not very difficult to do either, because if you want to buy it, this isn't very expensive. Even with very low barter, it's probably not going to cost you more than like 800 caps. so you can pick it up fairly cheap, at least compared to some of the other unique weapons that you have to buy. The other way that you can do this is just break into the back of the Dinobite Hotel. The back room there has this, as well as a bunch of toys in the back of it. So if you want to break into that room, it's only on a easy lock, so you just need 25 lockpicking or higher to get it. That's extremely easy to cheat out. Like I said, magazines give you 10. If you have comprehension, that's 20. You can't really start with like less than 5 lockpicking in that case anyway, regardless of what build you're going for. And this one's pretty cool. This one has appeared in multiple Fallout games. It actually dates all the way back to the very first Fallout game with the 223 pistol. And this one you can also load with 223. 5.56 is super versatile. You can load a bunch of different ammos. I think this pistol has the most ammos out of any of the pistols. This one does pretty good damage per second, a high crit modifier, and very little spread. Even more so if you want to load like match rounds into this. It's a pretty cool little gun if you want to grab it early on, and since you're already going to Novac, it's barely out of your way to grab. Up next, we have Maria. This one is the unique 9mm pistol, which you're going to become accustomed with right as soon as you start New Vegas, because this is the gun that Benny shoots you in the head with. And this one I'm also going to give a 1 out of 5 for. This one is not very difficult to get at all. You're pretty much guaranteed to get it unless you really go out of your way to save Benny and have him leave, in which case then you'll skip Maria. But I feel like most players aren't going to do that. Most players are probably going to kill Benny in one way or another. And your reward for this is Maria. Maria is also tied to a couple challenges. One of them is killing Benny with Maria. So shoot this out of his hand, pick it up, shoot him with it, and you get that achievement. Well, not really achievement, it's a challenge for New Vegas. There's also one for killing ghouls with holy weapons, and Maria does count as a holy weapon. Maria is a pretty good gun. It doesn't require basically anything. It does good damage, really good damage per second, uses a super common round, has a good crit modifier on it, doesn't require very many action points, and it holds 13 rounds in it. Next up, we have the weathered 10mm pistol, and this one I'm definitely going to have to give a 1 out of 5. This one is guaranteed to start in your inventory, assuming that you have the DLC for it. So this one is part of the Courier Stash add-on, which if you have the Ultimate Edition of New Vegas, you're guaranteed to get all of these weapons. So this includes this pistol, you get a shotgun, you get a machete, and you also get a grenade launcher from it. And they just start out in your inventory right at the start of the game. The weathered 10mm pistol is probably one of the better ones that you do start out with, as it does do pretty good damage per second, and it's also one of the very few unique weapons that can actually have the modifications put on it. So the 10mm gets 3 of these. You can put the suppressor on here, the red dot, and the extended mag on it, and all of them can go to the 10mm pistol, which is slightly stronger than a regular 10mm pistol, so this one is actually a pretty good weapon if you want to be taking it around with you. And speaking of not exciting weapons to grab, we have Little Devil up next, which this one I'm also going to have to give a 2 out of 5 for, because this one is just a weapon that you buy. The only reason it's a 2 out of 5 is because it's really expensive to get. So, not difficult at all. If you have the caps, then you can get this one super easy. This one does come with the Gunrunner's Arsenal DLC, so you do need to have that. But aside from that, you just have to go to Mick and Ralph's, and then you can buy this. Mick and Ralph's can be found in Freeside, and you're probably going to go there regardless if you're doing the main story, because it's like the first shop as you go into New Vegas, depending on which entrance you take. And if you're exploring around Freeside, you're probably going to find it anyway, because if you're doing quests there, almost all of them link back to Mick and Ralph in some way. This is the unique 12.7mm pistol, and this one has the highest strength requirement out of any of the pistols, being as high as like the 50 caliber rifle, which is kind of funny. But this one does do really high damage per second, has a high crit chance, and it has very low action points, which is great. This one is also supposed to count as a guaranteed holdout weapon in the game, but it's bugged and it doesn't do that. So you can't actually sneak this one in anywhere where you would kind of want it to be. Little Devil is a lot of people's favorite pistol though. It is very powerful, and like the 12.7mm is really strong, especially if you get things like the hollow points or the jacketed hollow points for it. And then for our last pistol, we have the Ranger Sequoia. This one I would say is like a 2 out of 5 to get, because they do become common later on. Once you hit level 16, then the Rangers start showing up that can have this. Otherwise, a really easy way to get this is actually the one at Camp Golf, if you do the quest Return to Sender. Now, Return to Sender is a lot of people's least favorite quest, and I can kind of understand why, because it's basically just run all the way around the map, then come back, then fast travel to all those locations again, and then come back, and then go up to Camp Golf. And that's really all you have to do. You don't actually have to really fight anything to do this quest, and most of the time these areas are pretty safe to actually run over to and just talk to the people there. If you do this and then talk to the chief, he'll go through a quest that's usually bugged where he does shoot himself, and then the Ranger Sequoia is sitting on the ground next to him. you can then grab this. This does count as stealing, but this is probably the easiest Ranger Sequoia that you can get since you can grab it at any level. And the Ranger Sequoia is a fantastic gun. It doesn't have very high health, but it does do a ton of damage, the most amount of damage out of any of the pistols, at least per shot. Shoots fairly fast, it looks really cool, and the 45-70 round is pretty versatile as well, especially if you're a hand loader and then you want to put like the semi-wad cutters in it, or if you just want to load the hollow point rounds in it, it does a lot of damage to enemies that don't have like heavy armor. And then moving on to the submachine guns, we have two of them that are unique. The first one up is Vance's 9mm submachine gun. Vance's 9mm submachine gun, I would probably say is a 3 out of 5 in terms of how hard it is to get. It's not super difficult, and you do get clues early on, so that certainly helps. You can find at least kind of the first clue of this in Prim, where the submachine gun has been stolen from. The submachine gun is not in Prim, it's on the north side of Vegas, so it's on the complete other side of the map, and it's in an unmarked location. You just have to find a house where you have two thieves that broke in, stole the submachine gun, and are planning to use it on the strip to get a bunch of money. In order to get this gun though, all you have to do is either kill these guys and take the key off of them, steal the key off of them, or you can talk to them and talk them out of their crazy plan, which you do need to have high speech in order to get through that. But once you've convinced them, then they'll give you the key, you can unlock the safe, and then you can get the submachine gun here. Vance's submachine gun is actually a really good weapon. Uses the 9mm round, so that's super common. 9mm submachine guns are probably one of the more common submachine guns to find, even though they're not really that common. But it's not difficult to keep this thing fixed. This one does already have attachments to it, so it already has the drum mag, taking it from 30 rounds up to 60 rounds, and this one is also unique in that it has different sights than the regular 9mm submachine gun. It's not the aperture sight, it's actually more of an open V-notch sight for it. Vance's 9mm submachine gun is really good, and if you want to rush it, you actually can. It's just going to take you a little while to actually run all the way up there and get the key and get into the safe. And also, weirdly enough, even though they plan on sneaking this into the strip, you can't sneak this submachine gun into the strip. However, the next submachine gun you can. Our very last submachine gun, and the last gun we're going to be going over today, is Sleepy Time. This is the unique 10mm submachine gun, and this one is the only submachine gun that's actually a sneak-in item. None of the others count for this, and this one's a very powerful one. So this one comes with the Gunrunner's Arsenal DLC as well, and this one I would also probably have to give like a 2 out of 5 for. This one is not difficult to get, you just need the money to get it. This one you find at the Gunrunners, which is one of the easiest locations to find, so it's not difficult to find at all. And it's probably going to be most people's location where they just want to run and sell stuff or buy stuff from, because the Gunrunners tend to sell a lot of things, and since they're out in the open, you don't really have to go through loading screens to get into buildings, which is fantastic. Sleepy Time is going to cost you a lot. This is going to cost you maybe the most out of any of the weapons we've talked about so far, besides like Little Devil. I think that one can potentially cost more, but Sleepy Time is totally worth it. This one's already got the extended mag on the 10mm submachine gun, so it goes from 30 to 40 rounds. This one doesn't have super high requirements, does good damage, really high damage per second. It's probably the strongest or one of the strongest sneak-in weapons in the entire game, just because a full auto submachine gun is really, really good. This machine is actually in the base game of Fallout New Vegas. This one is the unique battle rifle. It actually predates the battle rifle because the battle rifle would be added later with the Gunrunner's Arsenal DLC. As for an overall rating for this machine in terms of difficulty, I would say this one's a 5 out of 5, because if you're just going around the game normally, you're probably not going to find this weapon because it is out of the way. It's quite the ways out of the way, actually. Now, this weapon can be found inside of Camp McCarran. You have to go to the very back part of Camp McCarran to actually find Contreras, which can be kind of a trek, especially if you're playing this on console, because that means you have to fast travel there, go inside that area, go inside the building, go to the back part of that building, go through the casino, and then go into the shop at the back. There is another way around through here that would take one less loading screen if you went through the building, out the terminals at the bottom of the main building that you come in, and then walk around to the back building, then you could go in there. That does make this a little bit shorter, but you're going to have to do that for every part of this quest. And this quest can be completed 2 different ways. One is actually talking to Contreras, and if you're high enough level, this is level 12 or higher, then he will ask you to do a quest for him, which involves getting like scrap metal for the Gunrunners. You have to steal some other stuff, and it's pretty much like a 3-part task that you have to do, and then you can talk to him and he gives you this as a reward. That is one way you can complete this. The other way is that you can turn Contreras in and you will be rewarded this. However, if you do that to Contreras, then you can no longer use him as a vendor. And he does have a lot of military ammo, which can be really useful, like the 5.56 and 308 rounds, as well as he does have a guaranteed star bottle cap in his inventory. So I would recommend you buy that before you turn him in. If you want to turn him in, which I think is the far easier and much faster way to do this, you're going to need to have at least 50 science, or a way to cheat out 50 science, whether that be with clothing or chems like mentats, or with magazines. There's quite a few ways you can do this. You can actually get pretty high science right away if you want to rush this. This is actually one of my favorite weapons to rush early on. Then go to the top of his building, hack into his computer there, and then get the weapons manifest. Once you have that, then leave out the way that you came in, head back through the casino and the chow hall area, and then head back and talk to Lieutenant Boyd. Contreras will then be arrested by Lieutenant Boyd. He'll be thrown into the holding cells that they have there. Sometimes he also has like fiend gear equipped to him too. It's really weird if you see him later. And then you'll get this machine as a reward. And this machine is a fantastic weapon. It does really high damage per second. It uses a 308 round, so it's super versatile. Holds 8 rounds. It's got the iconic ping that the M1 Garand has, so that's really cool, and it has a ton of item HP. It's got 600 item HP, so it takes forever for this thing to break. The only kind of problem is if you rush this early on, it might be a little bit difficult to be picking up 308 rounds elsewhere. But once you start getting towards the mid and late game, most vendors will sell 308 rounds. The gunrunners and the cons sell a bunch of it. You can really buy it from just about any traveling vendor too, at least to some extent. So very, very powerful weapon and absolutely one of my favorite weapons. Moving on to a far easier weapon to find, we have the Abilene Kid LE BB gun. This one I would say is probably like a 3 out of 5 to find because it's always in the set locations, sort of. This one is sort of affected by a trait with Wild Wasteland. That being said, though, you don't need Wild Wasteland to get this. This one will appear in the base game. This isn't like the Alien Blaster and the Gauss Rifle, which can swap off if you have Wild Wasteland. This one can be found up at the Field Shack, just outside the Nellis Air Force Base, right up to where the boomers are. You're probably going to find this because there's not a whole lot of other ways to come up to there, and it's just the shack off to your left as you go there. Go inside and you'll find this on a shelf. This gun is pretty cool. This is the unique BB gun, and it does do the same damage as a BB gun, unless you hit a crit, which it does have extra crit chance, and then it does the same crit damage as a brush gun, which is pretty crazy. So it's actually a pretty good silent weapon if you want to use it, and not a bad weapon if you want to rush it, as well as if you plan on doing like a BB gun only playthrough. This one definitely makes that a whole lot more viable. If you do have Wild Wasteland, though, there will be a slight change with this, where there will be a well right next to the shack itself, and then you can climb down inside the well, and you'll find this on a skeleton down there. This is a reference to Fallout 2, where in Fallout 2 you could actually go down a well once you had rope, and then you could find Johnny's BB gun down there, and a couple skeletons, as well as a bunch of caps down in the well as well. Next weapon on the list is the Medicine Stick. This is the unique brush gun, and this thing is also incredibly powerful. It's one of the best weapons in the entire game, especially with the Cowboy perk. For an overall rating for the Medicine Stick, I would say this one's like a 2 out of 5. This one's like almost all the other Gunrunner Arsenal weapons. You just go up to the Gunrunners and you buy it. It's going to cost you a whole lot of caps, but I would say it's worth it. This is probably one of the best endgame rifles in the entire game. Shoots the 45-70 round. It does hold more bullets than a regular brush gun as well, where it holds in 8, and it does have nicer sights with a big old ghost ring sight. Really cool weapon, but not super exciting to talk about. Next weapon is the Long Carbine. This one is the unique Cowboy Repeater, and this one, I'm going to say it's a 4 out of 5 to get, because this one can actually be kind of a pain, unless you're planning on going against the NCR, and then this one drops down to like a 2 out of 5, honestly, because there's a good chance that you're going to get it. So this one is attached to Corporal Sterling, who you can find at Camp McCarran, unless you've done so much of the Fiend quest where you have to kill the leaders. Then they will be moved over to Camp Forlorn Hope. Either way, you can steal this off of him, and the way to do that, or at least the easiest way to do that, usually, is to pickpocket him, take the bullets off of him, go to a different area, wait a little bit, and then pickpocket him again, and then he should have the rifle in his inventory, and then you can steal it there. This can be really difficult, though, if you don't have high sneak or a stealth boy, because there's a lot of people in both these locations. He's almost never alone, so you do need to have really high sneak in order to get this. It's also probably going to take you multiple attempts, so be sure to save scum here if you really want it. Kind of a cool rifle, though. It is the Cowboy Repeater, but it has the extended tube on it, so it holds 11 rounds rather than 7, and it also has a scope added to it as well, so you can shoot it there. It also has a different reload animation. Rather than reloading 1 round at a time like the regular Cowboy Repeater, this one has the lever action reload from the lever actions in Fallout 3. So you reload the entire tube in one go, which is kind of nice. Overall, it's a decent weapon. I don't even know if I would say that this one's better than a regular Cowboy Repeater, though, because this one has pretty similar stats to it. It's just you can put more mods on the regular Cowboy Repeater, where it can have the faster action so it can shoot quicker. It can still have the extended tube, and it can also have the maple body dropping it in weight. Ultimately, this one's your choice, though, as to which one you like. I think I like the regular Cowboy Repeater a little bit more with all the mods on it, but the long carbine's pretty cool. Oh, this one's also a reference to The Last of the Mohicans. Our next rifle is Paciencia. This is the unique hunting rifle, and this one's a pretty cool one, but for an overall rating, I'm going to have to give it a 2 out of 5 once again. With this one being the unique hunting rifle, this one does slightly more damage than a regular hunting rifle. It does have an above average crit modifier, and it actually does the same crit damage as the 50 cal, the big old anti-material rifle, which is pretty cool. The 50 cal will still out damage this shot for shot, since it has higher base damage. But this does take the 308 round, and it doesn't weigh as much as the 50 cal, which is a big bonus. And it also has a zoom feature on just the iron sights as well, which is kind of interesting. As well as in the base game, the sights are a little bit off. I think they lean a little bit to the left or right. I don't remember which way. If you're just aiming center of mass, this isn't going to matter. You're going to hit regardless. But if you are trying to take really long shots at somebody's head, might make a difference. This one's a cool weapon though, but you just have to buy it in Novak. That's the only thing that you got to do with it. There's nothing else crazy about this. Really cool weapon though. A lot of people's favorite gun, a lot of people's favorite rifle, and I understand that. It is a really cool gun. I really like the hunting rifles in these games. Up next we have the Bowser. The Bowser is kind of the unique light machine gun, I guess. Kind of hard to say. The Bowser was a unique weapon in Fallout 2, and it was really powerful then. Fallout New Vegas, not as much. This one I would say is another 2 out of 5. Honestly, it's really easy to get this one so long as you have enough money, because all you have to do is to go to the gun runners and buy it. And that's kind of a bummer. It does cost a lot, though. It costs more than most weapons, and honestly, I don't think it's really worth it compared to a lot of them, because the damage is pretty good. The damage per second is pretty good as well. It's kind of awkward with the smaller magazine, though, for this being like a fully automatic weapon, although it does say that this is supposed to be like a fully automatic sniper weapon. Chambered in 5.56, just a really weird amount of information there. Doesn't really make sense for either an LMG or for a sniper rifle. Especially compared to like the regular LMG that we have in the game. Maybe if it was an early LMG, it would kind of make more sense. Bowser was a complete powerhouse in Fallout 2, but not so much in Fallout New Vegas. Kind of fun though. If you want to grab it, feel free to grab it. The next rifle is All-American. This one I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. All-American is the unique marksman carbine, and this one can be pretty difficult to get just because of the location it's at. It's actually not too hard to find it. This one is located in Vault 34. This is where the boomers were originally at before they left and found Nellis. But they left a lot of their armory behind there, and that's why All-American is down in the armory. Now to do this, you're going to have to get through all the golden geckos that are out in front and inside the front of the vault. Then you're going to have to get through all of the civilians that are still in the vault, or the ghouls now. Once you kill through them, and there is quite a lot of strong ones down there, especially based on whatever level you go down there, because you can't have a bunch of glowing ones. The Overseer in particular is pretty tanky. There's turrets down there that can do a lot of damage, or at least one turret in particular that can do a lot of damage. And then you have to go all the way through this, and there's a lot of radiation down there too, so be sure to take Radaway and Rad-X and maybe have some radiation, like, clothing or something, unless you just have a bunch of meds, in which case then you're fine to go down there. You're going to have to go and get multiple key cards, and then you're going to have to unlock multiple things and get to the Overseer's office, then unlock that, then go down into the basement where you can actually pick this up. It is in the armory, and it's just laying on the floor there. And All-American is a fantastic weapon. It's probably the best 5.56 gun in the game, where it does good damage, really good damage per second. It's very accurate. It has almost no action point cost. Like, it is insane how many action point hits you can have with this weapon. So that's really good. If you're going for a VATS build, highly recommended you get All-American. Next up is the Survivalist Rifle. A lot of people's favorite rifle as well. This one is really cool. This one you find in Zion, and this one I'm going to give a 4 out of 5 because this one can be kind of hard to find even if you know where it is. Like, it always takes me a little while to wander around and actually find this. So this is Randall Clark's rifle, which Randall Clark is a really cool character, even though you never meet him at all. I guess you meet a skeleton there. In order to do this, you have to go to Zion, and you have to go to the Red Gate. Once you get to the Red Gate, then you're going to have to look around there, and you find a skeleton underneath a tree. Once you find that skeleton, there will be a bag right next to him. Open up the bag and grab the Survivalist Rifle. And this is a really cool gun. So this is the unique service rifle, but it doesn't shoot 5.56 like the regular service rifle. This one shoots the 12.7mm round, meaning that it does really high damage per second. This holds 10 rounds in it as opposed to the 20 that the service rifle holds. Its iron sights are also awful. In my footage, I have a mod that fixes these, or, well, it's kind of an overhaul and it counts this as a service rifle. I kind of wish this one would stay the same. Really cool weapon. And another really, really good VATS weapon, like, has very low action point cost. This one's also affected by the grunt perk, so you can do massive damage with this. Same with All-American. That one's also really good if you want to go with the grunt build. Up next, we have Christine's COS silencer rifle. This is the unique sniper rifle, or one of them. This one I would say is like a 3 out of 5. This one is pretty cool. You find this one in Old World Blues, and you find this right outside the little Yangtze camp. That's just north of where you start. You'll probably be able to find it pretty easy because there's a tower up there, there's the actual camp, and then there's a little building off to the side. The building off to the side is where you want to go to get this rifle, and it's just leaning up against the wall, as well as you can find some steady there. This is where Christine was trying to assassinate Elijah, but Elijah ended up getting away. So you can pick this one up, and once you do, then it spawns in robots, so be sure to take them out, potentially with this rifle. This rifle's really good. It does good damage per second, has above average crit chance by quite a bit, more so than regular sniper rifles, which already have a 2 times, this is a 2.5 times. Good crit damage as well, and it does use the 308 round, as well as it is really nice that it already comes with a scope and a suppressor on it. So if you want a sniper rifle, this one is a pretty good one, and it's actually not too hard to get. Our next rifle is the Gobi Campaign Scout Rifle. I usually just call it the Gobi Rifle. This one can be found in the base game, and this one is also really good. This was probably like the best weapon from like base Fallout New Vegas. The Gobi rifle can be found in the Sniper Nest. This can be found right outside Cottonwood Cove. That's where Caesar's Legion is, and you do need 100 lock picking in order to get this. That's all you need. There's no keys for this. There's not a way to cheat it out like you could in like Fallout 3 to actually get into locked areas by using like dog meat. Sadly, Rex doesn't have that ability in this, so you're going to need 100 lock picking. Now, if you spec into lock picking, that's not a big deal. I would say this one's a 4 out of 5 though in terms of difficulty to get, simply because if you did stumble across this, you may not have the lock picking to actually get in. But if you have built for lock picking, this one is substantially easier to get. Uses a 308 round, holds 1 additional round than the regular sniper rifle, and it shoots faster than a regular sniper rifle, which is pretty good. On top of that, it actually has really high crit damage too, coming in at 80, so that's more than like a brush gun for the crits. Less space damage though, so DPS about the same as a brush gun overall. Very good weapon though. Up next, we have the Rat Slayer, one of my absolute favorite weapons in Fallout New Vegas. This one is awesome. This is a unique varmint rifle, which you can rush and get right away. This is in Brockflower Cave. This is just south of Novak. You can find this cave, and if you go in there, then there is a bunch of rats in there. These are giant rats, and they are the strongest rats in the game, at least these type of rats, and they do pretty high damage, so you do have to worry about that. An easy way to go through this cave is with a stealth boy, and you're trying to get up to the top part of this cave, which whenever you go into the cave, then it's on the right hand side, and you just kind of stick to the right hand side going through the cave as you go up there. You can pick up this rifle that's just usually leaning against the desk, but rats might have knocked it over. Sometimes it's laying on the floor too. I found it in both ways. This I would say is like a 3 out of 5 in order to get, because it is kind of rough to rush this early on if you don't have a stealth boy. If you do have a stealth boy, it does make it pretty easy. This gun is really cool though. It's the varmint rifle, but it has everything already modded on it. So it's got the night vision scope, it's got the extended mag, and it's got the suppressor. That makes it a really good weapon. It also has a 5 times crit modifier too, the highest out of any of the rifles. So it has the highest chance to crit, which is awesome, and it does do pretty decent damage and pretty decent crit damage. Like, this makes for a really good early and mid-game sniper. It's not going to be as crazy as the late-game snipers. Like, even the hunting rifle with the scope on it might be better than this. The sniper rifles might be better than this, and same goes with like the 50 cal. But it's really cool that an early game weapon like this can kind of hold its own against even those weapons. You can even take it like in conjunction with those weapons, because this one uses 5.56, which also means its ammo is super versatile too. So yeah, Rat Slayer, 2 big thumbs up for me. Now moving on to the shotguns, we have 3 unique shotguns to talk about. First up is the Sturdy Caravan shotgun, which I'm going to have to give a 0 out of 5, because if you have the DLC, you just start out with the Sturdy Caravan shotgun. If you don't have the DLC, then you don't get it, and there's no way to get it. This one is pretty cool though. This one is a unique caravan shotgun that has slightly more damage than a regular one, although it does have worse spread. Like, this one has as bad a spread as the sawed-off double barrel for some reason. And another weird thing about the Sturdy Caravan shotgun is that it doesn't actually get affected by shotgun perks. Like, End Stay Back and Shotgun Surgeon do not affect this weapon, which is, it's really weird. It's just coded that way. All the other shotguns are affected by it, but this one in particular is not. Meaning that it's a pretty good early game weapon, and I do like using it, but it's not really that great later. Next unique shotgun is the Dinner Bell. This one I'm also going to have to give a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because this one is tied to probably the longest quest in the game. It may or may not be a super difficult quest depending on when you want to do this. Later on, this is going to be fairly easy. Maybe not super easy, but it's going to be easier than if you insist on doing this really early on. So the quest is called Bleed Me Dry. You have to go to the Thorn to get this. This is just found northwest of Vegas. It's on the northwest corner of Vegas. You go down the sewer, and then you talk to Red Lucy. Red Lucy owns the Thorn, and you have to go get so many eggs for her. Throughout this quest, you also get other rewards like the hunting revolver and the hunting rifle. Those aren't unique, but you do get those guaranteed after you complete so many of these. And this is a multi-part quest where you do have to complete all of this getting all the eggs. So you have to get like mantis eggs, fire gecko eggs, night stalker eggs, rat scorpion eggs, cazador eggs, and deathclaw eggs in order to do this. She does give you locations to go and find each of these, but a lot of those things are really tough. Cazadors can be really scary in Fallout New Vegas. Deathclaws are obviously pretty scary. Night Stalkers can be pretty scary, especially when you gotta fight them inside of a cave, so that can be kind of rough. There is also a lot of unique or not really unique weapons. There's a lot of really good weapons that you can find throughout this quest though too, because there is like the unique laser rifle where the mantises are. You could also pick up like, I think it's a guaranteed hunting shotgun and a 12.7mm submachine gun in the Night Stalker cave. If you go to the one location for the Deathclaws that she recommends, you can pick up Mercy, which is a very powerful weapon, although you also have to deal with all the Deathclaws in there and everything, and that's also a really difficult weapon to get. But the Dinner Bell is pretty cool. This is a unique hunting shotgun. It's got the camo paint on it. You cannot modify this one, but it already has a choke on it. It would be nice if you could put the tube on this, or if the tube was already added. And this is technically the most accurate shotgun, not counting if you have the hunting shotgun and you put the choke on it, because that actually makes it more accurate than this, funny enough. So, yeah, it may not be worth it going for this. Although I do really like this quest, so like I always pick up the Dinner Bell in pretty much every playthrough, at least that I'm like playing all the way through. And then our very last unique shotgun goes to the Big Boomer. This is the sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, which this one I'm going to give a 3 out of 5 for. This one's a little bit easier than like the long carbine that we talked about earlier in this video. You do have to steal this one or kill the person if you're going to kill them. It's a lot easier than if you were just going to steal it off them. You can find this from Old Lady Gibson. She is found at the scrapyard just north of Novak. So you can just go right up there and talk to her. If you can pickpocket this from her, again, steal the shotgun shells, leave the area, come back, steal the shotgun off of her. And at least she's sometimes alone. Her dogs are around though too, so they can see you. And this one can take a while to actually swipe off of her. This one's okay. It's more damage than the regular sawed-off shotgun, which is kind of cool. But sadly, you can't sneak this one into places. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of worse than the regular sawed-off shotgun, because the sawed-off shotgun is fine in terms of damage. But for the same thing, if I want 12 gauge, I'm probably going to go with the hunting shotgun or the riot shotgun over the sawed-off shotgun. And the main thing the sawed-off shotgun has going for it, unless you're going for like a Mad Max vibe or a shotgun only run or something and you want like a pistol. But even then, you're still probably going to take the sawed-off just because you can sneak it into places. First up, we actually have a two-way tie between the Alien Blaster and the unique Gauss rifle, the YCS-186. Main reason why these are tied together is because they're actually in the same location, but they do require you to either have or not have the Wild Wasteland trait. Now, you can't actually get both of these if you chose to take Wild Wasteland first, then go up and get the Alien Blaster, then head to Old World Blues and re-roll your traits and get something else other than Wild Wasteland. I believe you can also do it the other way around too, to where you can just go there, get the YCS-186 Gauss rifle, go to Old World Blues, talk to the auto doc, have him reset your traits, and then you can pick Wild Wasteland, and then I believe the Alien Blaster should be there once you get back to there. Either way, this can be found at the far north end of Vegas. This can be found, well, pretty much on your way over to Jacobstown a little bit. It's still out north. It's kind of more close to the Northern Passage where you go up to Zion, and you can find both these weapons there. If you have Wild Wasteland, then there will be 3 aliens that appear. These aliens include the captain and 2 other aliens. The captain just has a laser pistol, which is not that very scary, but then the other aliens do have tri-beam lasers, so it is kind of scary if you want to rush this one. It's the same thing if you want to rush the Gauss rifle, though. There's a group of mercenaries there. One of them does have the Gauss rifle. He will try to shoot you with it, so be sure to kill him first. The rest of the mercenaries shouldn't really have anything, but they could pick up the rifle if you don't manage to kill all of them at once. So be sure to kill them without being seen. Sneaking up on them and sniping them is generally the easiest way, and for both these weapons, I would say they're probably a 3 out of 5 in order to get. There is some danger, and there's also the fact that you do need a trait in order to get one of these, or a not trait in order to get the other one, but both these weapons are incredibly powerful. The Alien Blaster does do really high damage. It has a 100% crit chance, but it does have limited ammo. There is only a certain amount of alien power cells that you can get in Fallout New Vegas. This is about 220, 230-ish in total. I believe you could get a little bit more if you took the Scrounger perk. I could be wrong about that, but you might get a little bit more from that. Either way, once you use up all of your alien power cells, you can't really get any more in Fallout New Vegas, short of spawning them in. Still a very powerful weapon, and it puts down basically anything really quickly. It's also not a very difficult weapon to get so long as you can take out those other aliens pretty fast. And I mean, the tri-beam lasers are definitely worth getting. The Gauss rifle, on the other hand, is the hardest hitting energy weapon, at least per shot, out of any of the energy weapons. And it also has bonus crit chance. It also takes 1 reduced microfusion cell over the regular Gauss rifle, where that would usually take 5. This one just takes 4. Very powerful weapon. It's really good if you take like the meltdown perk with it. You can kill things from quite a ways away. It's pretty much the equivalent of the anti-material rifle, but for energy weapons. Our second weapon is the Alucid Sea Finder. I hope I'm saying that right because I always get this one messed up. The Sea Finder. It's the Hammer of Dawn weapon where you just call down the laser and it blows up stuff. Very cool weapon. I would say this one's probably a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get though, because this one, the weapon itself is not actually that difficult to get, but to get it working, you do have to do things in a certain order. And if you've already completed a certain quest, you may not be able to even use this weapon. So the Sea Finder can actually be found in Freeside. There is a kid that's running around that has this, and you'll need to buy it off of him or steal it off of him. If you have high enough barter though, and which isn't a really high barter check, I believe it's 50, you can get this reduced by quite a bit. It's usually 1,000, but you can knock it down to 200 if you have that. Either way, it's actually not that much for a weapon like this. This was actually the weapon that Elijah really wanted to have, and this is why he wanted to hold on to Helios 1 so well. It was supposed to be an old world, basically, you know, wonder weapon. Funny enough, you can actually even see a body in Freeside that had a collar wrapped around it where their head was exploded. This is never actually said that this was Elijah, but he did put that on somebody to try to get this Sea Finder so that they could actually have it, and that's where the kid found it. Kind of a cool little detail there with this. This weapon you also need to do a quest for though too. You need to do That Old Sun, which can be done at Helios 1, and then you also have to rewrite power to the Archimedes charge. If you don't do that, then you can't use this as a weapon. It's pretty much just a paperweight at that point. If you do that, then you get 1 shot per day that has to be used outside, and it can't be too far away either. There is a rendering distance on this, but then you can smite down your enemies with a laser from the sky. A really cool weapon overall, really fun. Not really all that practical. It's kind of funny if you put God mode on though, because at least then you can spam it out multiple times, and it makes getting footage for this a whole lot easier than it would be to just wait 24 hours so that you could do it again. There's also some other bugs, like there's a bug to get it to work in-game, even without like turning on God mode or anything, so that you can use it multiple times throughout the day. Next up, we got the Compliance Regulator. This is one of the unique laser pistols. This one is found in Honest Hearts, and I would say this one's probably a 3 out of 5 to get. This one's actually not too difficult to get. You have to go into Fallen Rock Cave. This is on your way to the Dead Horses camp, so this is on the way to Joshua's place. You just go inside there. This place is rigged with a bunch of traps though, so be careful about that. There's some mines, there's some tripwires, things like that. At the very end of this, you'll find a box with a Compliance Regulator stuck inside of it. Then you can just fish this out of there. The Compliance Regulator is actually a pretty decent weapon though, because it does have more utility than a lot of other weapons. It also has no requirements to it either, so if you want to use it, you absolutely can. But the main effect that it has is on crit hit, you paralyze an enemy for 10 seconds. And since it's a laser pistol, it does get bonus crits. It's even better if you want to be stacking crit related perks too, or if you just have really high luck, or both. Like if you stack Light Touch with Finesse and then also Laser Commander, this thing does stun enemies pretty consistently. And you don't really need to be loading in the best ammo into this either. You can kind of load in whatever, and for an energy weapon, it actually has decent item health. It also has different colored lasers too. Rather than firing the red lasers, this one fires out blue lasers. As for an actual weapon, it's not really that strong. It's actually weaker than a regular laser pistol, but you're not really using it for that. You're using it to stun something, knock it on the ground, and then swap over to a weapon that you can put down that enemy with. So a very cool weapon. Our next weapon is Pew Pew, the other unique laser pistol. This one is pretty cool. So this one, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because you do need to complete another quest in order to get this one. In order to do this, you're going to have to complete the Sunset Sarsaparilla quest, which requires you to get 50 star bottle caps. You can get these just by going around and finding them around the map. Certain characters you can also potentially buy these from. Certain characters you could steal these from. You can steal them from Malcolm and the 2 idiots that are fighting out in front of Nipton. You can get their star caps if you would like. And then there's a whole bunch laying out. As well as every time that you drink Sunset Sarsaparilla, there's a chance that you also get a star cap. It's not a high chance, but there is a chance. Once you've collected 50 of these, take them over to Festus and then exchange them. And then if you question him some more, he will say that your prize is actually locked in the back. Make your way through the factory and through the door that would be open then. Otherwise, this door can't be opened unless you clip through it. And then you'll find a body in there that actually has Pew Pew sitting next to it. Pick up Pew Pew, and then you've got a very powerful weapon. This one does a lot of damage per shot. It's one of the strongest handguns per shot out of any handgun in the game. It also has a high crit chance too, and it does have pretty decent item HP. This one is a 2-shot weapon though. You only get 2 shots with it, and it consumes 5 cells each time that you shoot it, so you will be potentially running through energy cells a bit faster than the other laser pistols, but it does do a lot of damage. It also has different beams as well. This one has orange beams rather than the red beams that the other laser pistols have. Up next, we got the pulse gun, which I would also say is a 5 out of 5 in terms to get. The pulse gun, there is actually only one of these, although if you have an older version of New Vegas, there could actually be multiple, because sometimes people would actually sell this. This one shows up in Vault 34. This is in the Armory. This is the same place that All American is. But there's even more added steps to this, because Vault 34 does take quite a while to go through, and it can be a fairly dangerous place since it's full of ghouls, and it has a decent amount of radiation, as well as you got golden geckos on the front of it, and actually just outside of it. So you're going to have to fight your way through pretty much all of this stuff, or I guess be extra sneaky and actually go past all of them. Once you've unlocked everything in Vault 34, which does take quite a while, since you have to like flush the water out, open up different computers, go into the Overseer's office, get into the bottom of there, get the key so that you can actually go and head back into the Armory. Once you've done all that, then you actually get down to the Armory, and it's full of weapons. Like I said, All American is down there, one of the best assault rifles in the game. There's also always things like sniper rifles, grenade launchers, and a riot shotgun that's down there, very good weapons. But there's also a box that's located down there that has a very hard lock on it. And that's where you get the pulse gun, meaning that you're going to need either 100 lockpicking, a way to cheat out 100 lockpicking, or you're going to need the key for this. If you want to get the key, then you have to go up to Nellis, the place where the boomers are, go into Pearl's barracks, and steal the key. The key can be found in a filing cabinet there. So if you have the key, then you can unlock this chest, but you're still going to have to go all the way through this. Vault 34 is where the boomers originally were before they headed up to Nellis Air Force Base and took that place over. So they left quite a few things behind. And the pulse gun is one of those. And the pulse gun is pretty interesting because it doesn't really do that much damage unless you're shooting against robots or power armor, where then it hits like a truck. So that's really good. Still takes a small energy cells. This one consumes 5 ammo every shot, but you do get 5 shots with it. And it does take a second for it to go off. It takes like almost a second for it to charge up and then shoot. Pretty strong weapon if you're specifically fighting robots. The main problem is there's not really that many robots in New Vegas, so this one does kind of have limited use. It has a little bit more use if you want to take this Old World Blues, where then you can actually shoot the Robo Scorpions, or if you want to take on the Brotherhood, it's a little bit better then. Next up is the MF Hyperbreeder. This is the unique recharger pistol. This one is added with the Gunner's Arsenal DLC, and it's just one that you buy. This one I would say is a 2 out of 5. You just have to go to Novak and you can buy this one from Cliff. It's kind of expensive, but it is a really cool energy pistol, where this one holds half as many rounds as a regular recharger pistol, where that one can usually hold 20. This one holds 10, but it is fully automatic, and it does do good damage and really good damage per second, as well as has a really high crit chance for a fully automatic weapon like this. This one doesn't count as a laser weapon though, so if you want to get like Laser Commander, that's still a really good perk for energy weapons, but for some reason it doesn't affect the recharger guns even though they shoot lasers. It's kind of a weird oversight. And then our very last unique pistol is the Sonic Emitter, which there's actually 5 different Sonic Emitters depending on which one you want to swap it out to. But the Sonic Emitter itself, I would say, is a 1 out of 5 in terms of hard to get, because you're guaranteed to get this as soon as you go to Old World Blues. Go there, talk to the think tank, and they will give you the Sonic Emitter. You need this to actually continue the quest there, and then you can upgrade this at the jukebox whenever you get his personality actually put into there, and then for any of the extra holotapes that you find to change this. So you can swap this over to Gabriel's Bark, Opera Singer, Revelations is the default, you have Robo Scorpion, and you have Tarantula, each of these kind of giving their own pros and cons. Moving over to the rifles, our first rifle, besides the Gauss rifle, is the Holo Rifle. The Holo Rifle, I would also say, is a 1 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because you get this one as soon as you go to Dead Money. It's the first thing that Elijah gives you. And this gun is really good. It's a lot of people's favorite energy rifle, and for a pretty good reason. It does do good damage, pretty decent damage per second. It always has a scope on there, holds 4 shots, and it's a pump action rifle, I guess, grenade launcher rifle thing that shoots out different energy than necessarily like the Gauss rounds or like the laser rounds. Kind of counts as its own thing. And since it counts its own thing, you can't actually fix up the Holo Rifle normally. You would need weapon repair kits to fix it up. You can't use jury rigging. Nothing counts with the Holo Rifle. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Although it is also bugged to where if you get the durability buff on this one, the mod that you can put on it, it actually kind of breaks the Holo Rifle and makes it so it has unlimited health because it can never degrade from that point. So once you put that on there and throw all the weapon repair kits in it to make it fully fixed, it should never degrade from that point. Unless you have mods that fix that, which I do. But either way, the Holo Rifle is really powerful. The mods that it gets are really good. Very strong weapon. You can run this all the way through Dead Money if you'd like, and you can run it definitely outside of Dead Money. I know plenty of people love to rush Dead Money just to get the Holo Rifle. Up next, we have Elijah's Advanced LAER. This is the unique LAER in Old World Blues. And for some reason, this is one of the few like unique weapons that's kind of worse than the regular version. I don't know why that is, but it just is. You can actually find 2 of these in Old World Blues. So it is kind of a unique weapon, I guess. You can either get this at the little Yangsty camp that's just laying up against the building once you go there, the tower. Climb up there, that's where Elijah was hiding, and that's where him and Christina decided to have a fight between her sniper rifle and this one. You can also get her sniper there. And then the other one is at Elijah's overlook, which you can just go there and pick it up. It's also where he has his unique Tesla cannon, so you can get multiple unique weapons at either of these locations. The LAER is one of the strongest energy weapons in the game, I would say. It is extremely fragile though, and Elijah's is even more fragile than a regular one, meaning that it's kind of just worse, because aside from that, its stats are almost exactly the same. It does hold 5 less rounds, but it basically just has worse item HP. There's no real reason to do this when you could just buy an LAER from the sink itself. Going back to the Mojave for our last 2 energy weapons, we have the unique laser rifle first. You get this one in Vault 22. This is the vault that has all of the spore people and the spore plants inside of it. This one is found at the very bottom of that place. So you have to go all the way down to level 5. You can do this by either just going through each floor down the stairs, and then there's also like a hole in the wall that kind of leads back up to the 5th floor. Then you can go from the 5th floor up to the 4th floor stairs, and then inside there's going to be like 2 mantises, and there's a skeleton that actually has this laser rifle next to them. You can then pick it up and you get your laser rifle. For an overall rating, I would say this one's a 3 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get. It's generally not that difficult, and if you have high enough repair, you can just immediately go into the vault, fix up the elevator, drop it down to the 5th floor, go up to the 4th floor, and then pick it up right away. It's really simple then. But this is another case where it's a unique weapon that's actually kind of worse than the regular version. And that's mostly because like the laser rifle, the standard laser rifle, is actually bugged and it gets a whole lot better thanks to the mods. Either way, this one still does pretty good damage and has an above average crit chance, which is nice. It does consume 2 ammo for every shot as opposed to 1 though. So even though it holds 24, it's still consuming 2 shots, so you get 12 shots out of this. This one also shoots out different beams too, where it shoots out green beams. An interesting option, but like I said, if you want a better option, you could go with a laser rifle and you put the beam splitter on it, because the beam splitter is also bugged to where it's supposed to give you a second beam that gives like 30% more damage or something. It doesn't do that. It just bugs out and gives you 2 beams that are at 100% damage, so you just double your damage with the laser rifle. That is really, really good. And then our very last unique weapon for this list is the Q35 Matter Modulator. This one is the unique plasma rifle, where this one you can actually get within like the first couple minutes of the game. For difficulty, I would say this one's like a 2 out of 5 to get, because this way is like right on your way if you want to do the shortcut to Vegas. So in order to do this, you can just head right up through Sloan, head across Black Mountain a little bit, cut around the outside and then go down the backside of it, and then you should end up right outside the RepCon facility. This is where you can find the Q35. And the Q35, you don't actually need anything else to get it. You could potentially lockpick or hack your way into the room and make it much faster, but if you don't have 100 lockpicking or 100 science, you don't need to do that, because you could just talk to the robots. You can actually go to the back part, go on a tour, and then get like the employee key, make your way through, and then just head up through each of the floors up to the 3rd floor. With interacting with all the robots, you don't really have to worry about this if you go about it this way. Then you can actually drop down from the 3rd floor all the way down to the 1st floor, and you'll end up in the room with the Q35. If you do have 100 lockpicking or 100 science, you could just break right in and grab this weapon, but you probably won't have that if you're rushing this right away, right out of Good Springs. And this is a really, really powerful weapon. This one is also a little bit different. It's kind of the opposite of the laser rifle we just talked about, where that one takes 2 ammo every time. This one only takes 1 ammo, so unlike a regular plasma gun, it is more ammo efficient. It also has extremely low requirements, really good damage, an above average crit chance, high crit damage on top of that, low action point cost, low spread, and really high item HP, which is really good for an energy weapon. Like, all of those make it so the Q35 is one of the best guns in the game for an energy weapon build, and it's super easy to get. Fido, this is the unique K9000 gun that you can get in Old World Blues. And this gun is kind of interesting. For an overall rating of how hard this is to get, I'm going to say it's like a 3 out of 5. In order to get this one, you actually have to make this gun. So it can actually be kind of easier because it is really tied to like side quests. This one you have to go to the X8 Research Center, but you also need the key from the X13 Research Facility first. So you got to get that one, then you got to go over there, and then you can unlock it. And then once you actually have the schematic, then you can go to any workbench, and so long as you have a K9000 gun and 75 guns, then you can convert your K9000 gun over to Fido. Fido is kind of interesting because it does look different than the regular K9000 gun, and that is one of the most bizarre looking guns in any game. That one shoots the 357 round, this one shoots the 44 Magnum round, so if you have an excess of 44 Magnum rounds, this one can be pretty good, the same way the K9000 can be really good if you find an excess of 357 rounds, which can be kind of a factor in Old World Blues. It does do pretty good damage and pretty good damage per second, holds 50 rounds in it, does have really high requirements, weirdly enough, at almost maxing out the strength, and very high guns, but not quite 100. And the only other ballistic big gun that we have to talk about here, since I already kind of talked about the Bowser in the rifle video, although that one would be pretty boring because you just go and buy it from the gun runners, the next one is the unique minigun, which is the CZ57 Avenger. This one, for an overall rating, I would say is a 2 out of 5. This is actually pretty easy to get, and you can actually rush and get it right away if you would really like to, because there's nothing really stopping you from getting it, and there's not too many scary things up where you need to go. There is if you deviate from like the main road, because there is multiple areas where there can be like Deathclaws, Kazdors, Night Stalkers, things going all the way up there, so that is kind of scary, and it is pretty much on the other side of the map. For this, you have to go to the Devil's Throat. This is just northeast of Bitter Springs, and then you'll find this giant pit. This giant pit is full of centaurs, and if you notice the footage behind me, the water is also clipping out. That is kind of my mods breaking. Also, apparently it's my drivers on my GPU. I found that out too when I reinstalled all these mods. Anyway, if you go down into this hole, you'll find a truck down there. You climb into the back of the truck, and there is a dead mercenary in the back. The mercenary does have really good armor on him, as well as the minigun next to him. So this can be a fantastic location to go if you want to rush there and get both the unique minigun and some armor. This can be really good if you would like to sell this armor or wear this armor, as it is pretty good medium armor, as well as this area is only defended by centaurs. So it's really easy to just run right past, and you don't even need to fight them because they move so slow. And then just pick this gun up and then leave the hole. You can also kill them all for some easy XP too. There is a unique one down there too, if you would like to kill that. So go for it. Overall, the CZ57 minigun is pretty cool. It has a higher rate of fire than the regular minigun, and it does do more damage, but it does have a smaller magazine overall, so you can run through ammo quicker. Moving on to the big energy weapons, we've got quite a few more here. So first up is the Cleansing Flame. This is the unique flamethrower that came with the Gunner's Arsenal DLC, and for an overall rating, this one's going to be a 2 out of 5, because this is another one of those weapons where you just buy it. So you just have to go to the Silver Rush, and then you can buy this, assuming that the Van Graffs aren't dead. If they are dead, then you could buy this from the gun runners. Not super exciting to get this one. It is a cool weapon though. It has blue flames on it, and this does do more damage over time thanks to the fire than other flamethrowers do, which is kind of cool. It does do pretty good damage per second, pretty decent damage. It's good if you take like the Pyromaniac perk. It uses the flamer fuel and it holds 100 ammo in it, so you can keep the fire on stuff for quite a while, and it does work really, really well at close range. I'm not sure if I like this one or the flamethrower that's all like modded out more, but they're both pretty good. Next gun is the Spurtlewood 9700. This one is the unique Gatling laser, and this one shoots out green beams, and this one is also going to be a 2 out of 5 because this one you buy also from the Silver Rush. Sadly, with the Gunner's Arsenal weapons, they're only in places where you can buy them, so if you want this, then you can have it. You could argue this one's worse than a regular Gatling laser, though, because this one does do more damage per shot, but holds less shots overall, and the regular Gatling laser can do a decent amount more DPS, as well as it does have some modifications that are kind of good with this one. That's not to say the Spurtlewood is bad, though. It's still a Gatling laser, so it can still cut through basically anything. It's really good if you want to take like Meltdown with this, and perks that give you extra crit chance that aren't tied to your luck, or aren't tied to the standard crit booster, I should say, of fully automatic weapons like this, like Light Touch, are really, really good with the Gatling laser. And then we have the Smitty Special, which is the unique Plasma Caster, which you also buy from the Van Graff. So 2 out of 5 once again. Not very difficult to get so long as you have the money. If you don't have the money, then you're going to have to save up and buy them. And pretty much all the weapons we've talked about have been pretty expensive that you need to buy. None of these are super cheap. This one does do pretty good damage per shot and really good damage per second. This one is fully automatic, which is different than the regular Plasma Caster that's semi-automatic. So you get kind of better DPS out of this, sort of, but worse damage per shot. Honestly, the Plasma Caster can keep up with this pretty well, and if you have the upgrade to it, it's kind of better than this. But if you want the Smitty Special, you can absolutely go for it. This one is a reference to Fallout 1 as well, since Smitty was the guy you needed to talk to in Fallout 1 to upgrade your power armor and your plasma rifle too, which, funny enough, the Plasma Caster is the model of the old plasma rifle. So it kind of makes sense that he would have the upgraded version, although in that it was the turbo plasma rifle, and then the armor was like the hardened power armor, which was even better. Our next weapon is Elijah's jury-rigged Tesla cannon, and this one you can find at Elijah's Watch. So this is a location that Elijah was building stuff at. He's also got a turret there, and usually there's Securitrons that show up when you go to get this, so that can be Kind of painful. Be sure to kill them, show up, or you can kind of climb down the cliff off the other side, and you're usually okay. This is one of Elijah's weapons that he was building in Old Blood Blues. He made himself his own Tesla cannon, and this one's pretty good. For an overall rating, I would say this one's probably a 3 out of 5, just because you have to get to the location, and it is kind of tucked away in Old Blood Blues, but if you know where that is, it's not too difficult to get, and there's nothing besides the turret that's really guarding this, so you can just snag it and run if you would like. But the damage per second is pretty good from this. It has an above average crit modifier, which is really good. This one also has more overall ammo than a regular Tesla cannon. You can actually get 6 shots off in total with this one because it costs you 5 ammo and it holds 30 rounds, so that's pretty good. This one does do the damage over time like all the Tesla cannons. This one does have the lowest item HP out of any of the Tesla cannons though, so it does break really fast. May not be that big of a factor though, depending on how you like to play. For an energy weapon build, this probably wouldn't be like your go-to weapon, but it could be your like initiating weapon. You could do a lot of damage with this, especially if you put in like the max cells to it. And then our very last big weapon is the Tesla Baton prototype Tesla cannon. This one you can find in the regular Wasteland. It's not in any of the DLCs, but it is kind of out of the way. So for this one, I would say is another 3 out of 5. It's not super difficult to get, but there is a lot of robots guarding it, and these are like the hardened Gutsies and hardened Sentry Bot models, so they are quite a bit tankier than regular robots. This one you find at the Crashed Vertibird, which is down to the very southwest corner of the map. Once you are down there, then you're either going to have to sneak past all the robots, or you're going to have to kill them. So be sure to bring like anti-robot weapons for this, like pulse grenades, pulse slugs, pulse grenade launcher shots too, those all help for it, or just weapons that can punch through armor, so armor piercing rounds can also help with this, or just, you know, really powerful weapons. Any of those are fine. Once you kill your way through the robots, then you just find this one laying on the ground, and this one is kind of similar to like Elijah's Tesla cannon, where this one does do the most amount of damage out of the Tesla cannons. And this one also has really bad item HP. It breaks pretty fast. This one holds 24 rounds in it and uses 6 ammo per shot. So you do get 4 shots out of this before you need to reload it. Less than like Elijah's. The Tesla cannons are kind of weird weapons because they are actually quite powerful in New Vegas, but they break really fast. So you're going to need like weapon repair kits to keep these fixed up. They're really not my favorite to go for like an energy weapon build. They can be fun every once in a while, but I'm probably just going to shoot it until it starts jamming and then I'm going to put it away. Esther is the unique Fat Man, and it is the highest damaging weapon in the game, as you would kind of expect. It does a massive amount of damage, a lot of DPS. This one for an overall ranking, I would say is like a 2 out of 5 in order to get, because Esther is extremely easy to get so long as you have enough money. You just buy it from the gunrunners. That's it. Like a lot of the weapons that we've talked about that are gunrunner specific weapons, you're going to get them in a few locations. And this one you just buy from the gunrunners. It is a little bit unique from a regular Fat Man, where it does weigh more. It weighs 40 weight. It's the heaviest weapon in the game as well. And it also has the heaviest ammo too, but it does also give you damage resistance when you're using it, thanks to it having the explosive shield on there. So it does give you some explosive resistance. I'd also recommend like hit the deck for this one. Very fun weapon. The Fat Man in New Vegas is really, really cool, especially with the different mini nukes you can load into this. I love taking the timed mini nukes, shooting those. You can even use those kind of indoors, so long as you can get behind like a wall fast enough. And you can even use it as like an improvised sort of sniper rifle. It's very interesting. But yeah, Esther's a really cool weapon. Our next weapon is Mercy. This is the unique grenade machine gun, which is a very rare weapon in and of itself. The regular grenade machine gun doesn't appear that much in New Vegas. This one I would say is a 5 out of 5 in terms to get though, because this is probably one of the most difficult weapons to get, since you do have to go to Deadwind Cavern. This is where the legendary Deathclaw is, and this is basically like the Deathclaw Sanctuary from Fallout 3. You're in an indoor location with a lot of Deathclaws, and they can kill you really fast. You can make this a little bit easier on yourself if you want to go through there. If you have like Implant GRX as a perk, or Turbo, and let's say you have like End Stay Back and a Riot Shotgun, that's a pretty good combination. That works pretty well. You can clear out the cave pretty fast with that. But it can still be kind of a pain to be fighting your way through all of this. Once you do fight your way all the way through here, then you'll find a Dead Brotherhood of Steel Paladin who has some 40mm grenades and also has the power armor on him and has Mercy sitting next to them. You can then pick up Mercy, and Mercy is a very cool weapon. It does a ton of damage. It does a ton of damage per second. It's a really good explosive weapon overall. It's a very cool explosive weapon, and since it uses the 40mm grenade, you do actually have a lot of different ammos that you can load in with it. Our next unique explosive is actually a 2-for-1, where we have both the Great Bear grenade rifle and the Red Victory grenade rifle. These two, I would also say, are 5 out of 5s in terms of hard to get, simply because you do have to go through all of the Lonesome Road. And this is also going to depend on which of these you pick to go for, or you could go for both of them. This is based on who you nuke at the end of Lonesome Road. If you choose to nuke nobody, then neither of these weapons will show up because neither of the locations are given. You do either have to nuke the NCR or the Legion, or you can nuke both of them and then you can go to either place. Both of these grenade rifles are pretty good. They are stronger than a regular grenade rifle. Not a massive amount. I don't like them more than like Thump Thump, which we'll talk about here in a second. But they are still unique grenade rifles. Are they really worth it to go out of your way to get? I would say not really, unless you're just going for like all of the unique weapons, in which case then yeah, sure. But compared to like the regular grenade rifle, or again Thump Thump, or the Mercenaries grenade rifle, I think you kind of have better options here. And up next we have the Mercenaries grenade launcher, which is going to get a 0 out of 5 for me because you start out with this one. This is one of the weapons you start out with if you have the Ultimate Edition. If you don't have that, then you won't get it. It's just a little bit better than a regular grenade rifle, and it's probably the best early game weapon that you can have. Besides maybe Chance's Knife. Chance's Knife is really good too, since you can grab that one so early on. But the grenade rifle is very consistent, and they did at least give you a decent amount of grenades to be kind of effective with it. Up next we have Thump Thump, the other unique grenade rifle. This one already has the extended barrel attached to it. This one you find up at the Boomer's place. So this one you're going to have to run all the way north. I just did a video about this not too long ago, talking about like the strong explosive build. I think Thump Thump is one of the strongest explosive weapons that you can get. Since this one already has the increased velocity on it, it has better damage, and it has a better reload speed than the regular grenade rifles. It's really good for that. It also just looks really cool. I do like that. The actual location of this is inside the Nellis array. All you have to do is actually go inside the building, drop down to the ground floor of it, or I guess it's more the basement. You drop down there and then you go over and there's a skeleton that has Thump Thump sitting right next to them and some grenades. You can also pick up even more grenades and even more ammo down there, as well as there is a couple other weapons down there that it's really good. So if you pick up all that, then you have a really strong start. For a rating, if I didn't already give it for Thump Thump, is a 3 out of 5. Mostly just getting through the Boomer's barrage, but if you have turbo, you can take that and just run right to there, and then you can just do this right away. You can do this quest and have this weapon within just like a couple minutes of actually starting the game if you want to rush right up to the Boomers. Our next unique weapon is Annabelle, and this one I would also say is a 3 out of 5. Annabelle is the unique missile launcher, which is stronger than a regular missile launcher, does do more damage, as well as it weighs less than them. This one isn't super difficult to get, it's just kind of in more of a later game area, since this is found at Black Mountain, so this is where all of the super mutants are. All you have to do is just get your way to the top of that, and then at the very top there is going to be a super mutant sniper, I believe is what they're considered, that does have Annabelle. You just have to kill that mutant and then either have Annabelle drop or cause that enemy to explode, maybe with Bloody Mess, and then you can interact with them, and then you can pick up Annabelle. Annabelle's pretty awesome. The missile launcher in New Vegas is really good too. It's a very good long-range weapon for explosive builds, so that's really nice, and having the reduced weight is really good for it too. And then our very last unique explosive weapon is the Holy Frag Grenade, which you can actually get 3 of these. So the Holy Frag Grenade is kind of weird. I'm going to say this one's a 3 out of 5 too, because I didn't really know where to put this. So these aren't very difficult to find, at least if you know the location. Where this is down at Camp Searchlight, it's in the church there. You have to go into the basement. There is some golden geckos down there. You will probably have to kill them, unless you want to sneak past them or something. And then there is 3 of the Holy Frag Grenades right next to one another. You can only get this though if you have Wild Wasteland, so you do need that trait in order to get it. Meaning that these are very limited. You could pick that at the very start and then potentially re-roll it later at Old World Blues for something else, or vice versa if you really wanted to do that to get potentially all of the unique weapons. This is one of the 2 unique weapons. Well, I guess kind of one of the 3 unique weapons that counts for this, although one of those unique weapons, the unique Deathclaw Gauntlet, you can still get, it's just not tied to this exactly. And the Holy Frag Grenade is really strong. It's the strongest thrown explosive in the game. It does a massive amount of damage, it blows up like a mini nuke, which is really cool. It's one of the funnest weapons to be using, and it's really cool to have these. And I do like that they at least give you 3. It would be awesome if you could get even more than this. Like maybe 1 could appear each day somewhere or something like that. That would be pretty awesome, but it is cool that at least we have these. This would actually show up in Fallout 2 as well. It also showed up in Fallout London. Well, it sort of showed up in Fallout 2. Fallout 2, you actually need to patch the game to get it for the random encounter, and there was only the one. In Fallout London, I believe there was 2 of them that you could get, which is pretty awesome. Still a very cool grenade, and then we don't have any other thrown explosives that are unique, nor do we have any placed explosives that are unique. Although, I mean, some of them kind of are, but not really, like the demo chargers from Dead Money. There's only a few of them that you could get. Well, you can keep getting them from the machine, but they are a little bit unique there, but I didn't really want to include them here because all the other explosives you can pretty much make. There's not a whole lot of unique explosives, but there are some really cool ones. Blood Nap, this is the unique Bowie knife that you can get in the Lonesome Road. For an overall difficulty rating, I would say this one's probably a solid 4 out of 5, maybe a 5 out of 5. It is fairly difficult to get because it requires you to go through almost all of the Lonesome Road up to a certain point, at least until you launch the very first nuke, and then that opens up the path to the Courier's Mile. In order to get this, you just have to go to the Courier's Mile, and you don't actually need to fight anything, even though that area is very dangerous with all the very high radiation, the Death Claws, and the Marked Men there. It actually has the strongest version of Death Claws that we have in New Vegas as well, and probably the strongest version we've ever gotten in Fallout. They are pretty scary. Anyway, Blood Nap is stabbed directly into a telephone pole as you go there, just sitting next to a park bench. So all you have to do is yank this out, and then you got yourself the unique Bowie knife. And Blood Nap is a very strong weapon. It's one of the strongest melee weapons in the game. It has good damage, really good damage per second, has an above average crit modifier, and very low action point cost. Actually gives you plus 10 sneak whenever you're sneaking around with it too. Doesn't weigh very much, and it is also affected by the cowboy perks, so you can get even more damage with it. Overall, a very cool weapon. Usually like my end game knife, honestly. Usually I swap out Chance's knife for Blood Nap by the end of the game. This one is really, really cool. Up next, we've got ourselves some swords with the Blade of the East and the Blade of the West. These ones I would both say are like 1 or 2 out of 5s in order to get. They're not very difficult to get. Although with like the Blade of the East, it is at the very end of the mainline story, so long as you're not siding with the Legion, so long as you are actively fighting the Legate. Once you kill him, then you have the Blade of the East, which you can use for like 1 or 2 enemies that spawn around, and that's about it. You don't get to use it for anything else, which is a real big bummer because this is a cool weapon. Hits like an absolute truck, has damage over time, has a massive amount of item HP. It is really cool, but sadly, unless you spawn it in, you don't really get to use it. The Blade of the West is a lot easier for you to get as it's just obtainable in the Lonesome Road. Technically a unique weapon, although there is multiple of these. The Marked Men can carry these around, even just standard Marked Men can carry them around. Also a very strong weapon, also hits like a truck. This one has bonus knockdown on crit, and it has an above average crit modifier. It is incredibly powerful if you pair this with like the Super Slam perk. Doesn't have nearly as much item HP as the other one, but at least you actually get to use this one. So both these weapons are really cool. Sadly, I wish you got to use the Blade of the East a little bit more, or you could use it in some other way throughout the game without actually spawning it in. Our next unique weapon is the Chopper. This is the unique Cleaver. And this one's a pretty easy one to get, so I would say this one's probably a 1 out of 5. Very, very likely going to pick this one up. You find this one at Wolfhorn Ranch, which you're more than likely going to go there because it's just past Nipton and it's on the way to Novak, and it's kind of where like those two roads intersect, so you're more than likely just going to go out and check this out. Once you go inside there, then you can just find the Chopper laying on the stove. Fun fact, this is actually Ulysses' place. Apparently he lives here, or at least part-time, and this is his cleaver. This one's a kind of cool early game weapon since it's so easy to pick up, and it's a decent melee weapon. It's got okay damage, pretty good damage per second, again above average crit modifier, does extra damage to limbs as well. That is a unique feature about this weapon, and it does have a lot of item HP too, so you might find some use in this, at least for fighting off like some lower leveled enemies, or at least just not using up bullets. Like Chopper's pretty nice, and you can find a bunch of cleavers up to that point if you've been fighting the powder gangers. Up next, we got everybody's favorite knife, Chance's knife. Chance's knife is a really good weapon, and you can obtain this weapon probably the fastest out of any unique weapon, not counting the unique weapons that you're going to start out with if you have the DLCs. So Chance's knife can be found just north of Good Springs, and this can be found in Chance's grave. You're going to need a shovel for this. Good thing you can grab a shovel down at the Good Springs watering source, so you can just run right there immediately, run back, and then head right behind the gas station, head up alongside the wall there, and so long as you just keep following it north, you should be able to drop right down onto where Chance's grave is, dig this up, and get his knife. Chance's knife is an incredibly powerful melee weapon, as it does do really good damage per second. It's affected by 2 different damage perks with Grunt and with Cowboy. It also doesn't weigh very much. Combat knives you can find all over the place, and once you get jury rigging, you fix this up with absolutely anything. It's one of my absolute favorite weapons in New Vegas, and probably my favorite sneak-in weapon, at least of the like melee weapons. This one is just really, really cool. Up next, we have technically weapons that are kind of unique, but not really, so we're just going to briefly go over these with the Cosmic Knife Clean and the Cosmic Knife Superheated. Both these are obtainable in dead money. There's a bunch of Cosmic Knives, and you can turn any Cosmic Knife you would like into either one of these. You just need enough resources to turn them in at the hot pads. It's the same thing with the Cosmic Knife Superheated, but you are going to need to get the schematic to actually make the superheated knife, which you can find inside of the Sierra Madre Casino. It is in the utility room where you just have to type on the computer and then just go through each thing and it should give that to you. Then you can make Cosmic Knife Superheated. So these are technically unique weapons, but not really. So I would say they're like 1 or 2 out of 5s. Technically you can miss a superheated knife, so that's not cool. But you should be able to make as many clean knives as you would like, so I don't really know where to put these. Up next, we have the unique Fire Axe Knock Knock. Knock Knock is a very easily missed weapon. I would say this one's probably a 5 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get. Not because it's actually super difficult, because you can run and get it right away if you know where it is, but it's really easy to miss if you don't know where you're looking. So Knock Knock can be found at Camp Searchlight, and it can be found specifically in the fire station. The main problem with that, though, is that you cannot get into the fire station without the key. Now, in order to get the key, you're going to have to get this from Logan, who is in the basement of the church in Searchlight, probably on the way there, at least if you're coming to there from a kind of normal way. If you're coming there from like Cottonwood Cove, then it's going to be on the opposite end of the town of you. In there, you can talk to Logan and you can start up the quest Wheel of Fortune. You can continue along this quest, and then you have to go and get some radiation suits, which can be found just outside of Nipton. You can come back and then you can start doing the quest. You go to the police station first, then you head towards the fire station. You could also just kill Logan and take the keys. That's another option too. That's a far faster way, and sometimes this quest does bug out. I've had this quest to where the guys just won't start, or they'll get stuck in the town, and I've had to kill them to actually get this weapon. Inside the fire station, this can be found on the 2nd level. You have to go up there and then go into the bathroom, and then inside of one of the bathroom stalls with a skeleton, there is also Knock Knock just placed in the corner. It's really easy to miss, but it's a really cool weapon. One of my favorite melee weapons in the game. It's just a very cool looking axe. It always makes me think of American Psycho whenever I want to use this. Next up, technically, we have the Knife Spear Clean. This is kind of the same thing as the Cosmic Knife, though. You can make these, so I'm not really going to be including it here or talking about it much. You can just make these in dead money if you have the knife spear. So moving on to the machetes, which we have 2 unique machetes. Since the Machete Gladius isn't really unique, you can actually get that one off of multiple Legion characters. So just kill the Legion and you can take that. First up is the Broad Machete, which I'm going to give a big old 0 out of 5 in order to get, because you start out with it. It's one of the few weapons that you do start out with if you have the DLCs, and this one's basically just a stronger machete. It does a little bit more damage per second. It has an above average crit modifier, which is pretty good, although it doesn't have the extra limb damage like the machetes do. So kind of pros and cons to this, but generally speaking, it's a very good early game weapon. Unless you want to run and get Chance's Knife, which completely blows this one out of the water. Chance's Knife just hits harder, has more DPS, you can sneak it into places. Like, that one is just objectively the much better weapon. But the Broad Machete does work pretty well in the early game, especially if you're just going to the melee-centric build, because you probably don't have a bunch of like combat knives or weapon repair kits to be fixing up Chance's Knife. So the machete works for just clearing up other things. Our other unique machete is called the Liberator. This one I would say is probably like a 2 out of 5 in order to get. It's not very difficult, and there's a good chance you might do the quest that you can actually get this from. So the Liberator you can get over at Nellis from a guy called Dead Sea. Dead Sea is a Legion commander, and he's got this machete, so if you kill him, then you can take it. You could also reverse pickpocket him like we've talked about in the series before, and then you can get it that way. Overall, I don't think this is a crazy, like, unique weapon to be going for. It's barely better than a regular machete, and machetes aren't really known for being all that great. The main advantage this one has is that it does have even more limb damage than a regular machete, as well as a higher crit modifier, which is kind of a bonus, but it still has like the low-ish damage. Next unique weapon that you can get, and this one's also kind of a unique weapon, with the Proton Inversal Axe. You can get this one in Old World Blues, and there's actually multiple of it, which is why it's a little bit hard to consider this one as like truly unique. You can get this one in a couple of places. The Cuckoo's Nest can have one. The X-13 research facility can have one. There's actually a skeleton with it stuck in its back. You have to pick through a hard lock to get into there though. And there's also some of the unique enemies that can carry this around, little Yangsty. It's a really good weapon. It's very strong. Extra damage per second, extra damage towards robots. Basically just a better version of like the Fire Axe. For an overall rating for that one, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, since you can get so many of them. Really depends on if you want to go out of your way to get them. If you're doing everything in Big Mountain, you're going to find them anyway. Our next unique weapon is the unique Shish Kebab, Gehenna. And Gehenna is a Gunrunner's arsenal weapon, which means you just buy this from the Gunrunners. That's it. So it's going to get a 2 out of 5. It's not really all that unique. It's not really all that special, at least in terms of how you get it. It is a very strong weapon, though. It does really good damage per second. It's one of the best weapons, maybe the second or third best weapon to make use of Pyromaniac, which is really cool. Has above average crit chance, a ton of health. And then our very last bladed weapon that we have goes to Figaro. This is the unique straight razor. Kind of an interesting weapon. You get this one in free side with the Kings. You have to go into the Kings building, and then this is held by their barber, Sergio. You can reverse pickpocket him and get it, or you could kill him and take it off of him, or you could instigate a fight, knock this out of his hand, pick it up, and then wander off too. All of those work if you want to get Figaro. Figaro is stronger than a regular straight razor, which isn't really saying all that much since straight razors are arguably some of the worst weapons in the game. This one does very low damage, still pretty low damage per second. It does have a 4 times crit modifier though, so you do have a really high chance of critting, but that's kind of the only thing it has going for it, and that you can sneak it in, which is kind of cool. But then again, you could also sneak in like Chance's knife. You can get that one right at the start, and it's way stronger than this weapon too. And for an overall rating for Figaro, I would say probably like a 3 out of 5, since you have to reverse pickpocket or you kill somebody for it. So if you don't want them dead, this can take a little bit of time to actually get, but other than that, it's not too difficult. Let's move over to the blunt melee weapons now with our very first one, which is Nephi's Golf Driver. This one I would say is probably 2 out of 5, because there's a high chance that you're going to be able to get this one. This one is carried around by Driver Nephi, who you can kill. It's part of the 3-card bounty quest too, and he's just a named fiend. Fiends attack on sight regardless, so there's a high chance that you might kill him and then just realize that he's unique and be able to take his golf driver. For this, you can find him just right outside of Camp McCarran. He's probably one of the easiest ones to go for right away. None of the fiends are super difficult to go for if you want to be taking their heads though. Also, be sure not to damage his head too much if you want to be getting extra money, so don't cause it to explode and bloody messes. Maybe not the best perk for this quest, but if you do it early enough, that's not a big deal, or if you just don't have that perk. And Nephi's Golf Driver is pretty decent though. It does do good damage and good damage per second. It does break really fast though, so you're going to need to fix this one up pretty often. That's the only downside with this one. Our next blunt weapon is the Humble Cudgel. This one is the unique lead pipe, and this one I'd probably say is a 4 out of 5 in order to get, because I usually get lost looking for this one even though I know where it is. So this one you find in the New Vegas sewers. You are going to have to go into like the central sewers first. You can get there a couple different ways. I usually find it easiest to go through the Thorn, but if you just check the manhole covers out and around Vegas, you can get in there usually. You have to find a body that has a key that goes to the sealed sewer. Then you have to actually go and find the sealed sewer, unlock it with this, then go in there. There's usually ghouls and rats throughout this area. They're not the scariest thing, but sometimes you can have glowing ones or the ghoul reavers. Once you kill your way through all of them though in the sealed sewer section, then you should be able to find a dead prospector, and he's got the Humble Cudgel on him. He's also got a fire axe next to him too, so that's kind of cool. This weapon's actually pretty good. I do like it. It has good damage per second. It does break kind of quick like the other lead pipes, and since it's so far out of the way, I usually don't find myself going for it, but it is kind of a cool weapon, and I do like that it changes the model quite a bit. Our next weapon is the unique pool cue, Old Glory. Weirdly enough, this one counts as a pool cue. This one is Ulysses' unique weapon, and this weapon is very strong. For an overall rating, I'd probably say this one's a 3 out of 5, because you do have to go all the way through Lonesome Road, but you're guaranteed to get this as a reward by the end, so it's fairly hard to miss unless you're not doing all the DLCs. Old Glory is very strong though. It does really good damage per second, has a very high crit chance and a really high crit modifier too, as well as it costs very little action points, and it actually has a lot of item HP too. It's kind of weird how bad the pool cue is, but how good the unique pool cue is. So it has that going for it. It also has a really good special attack too, with Grand Slam being one of the strongest special attacks that you can do in VATS. Next unique weapon is the Nuka Breaker. This one is the unique Rebar Club, and this one's also added with the Gunrunner Arsenal DLC. So this one I would say is a 2 out of 5, because all you have to do is just buy it. You buy this one from Mick and Ralph. It does look a lot different than the Rebar Club though, where that's just some concrete and some rebar that the super mutants swing around. This one is just a Nuka-Cola sign, and it electrocutes stuff too, or at least it has electricity that you kind of see on it. I don't think the electricity actually counts as damage over time. Up next is Oh Baby, the unique Super Sledge, a very cool weapon, a lot of people's favorite like melee option if you're going with a melee tank. It's a really cool weapon. For an overall rating, I'd say this one's like a 3 out of 5 to get. This one's not too hard. You have to go up to Jacobstown, and then you also have to go to Charleston Cave. However, you usually have to start out a quest too with Guess Who I Saw. So all you have to do for that is just go into Jacobstown, the main lodge area, and then talk to the scientist on the right-hand side as you go in. He'll give you the quest, and then he'll ask for you to go and find some evidence up in the cave nearby. Once you go up there, then you should find a dead Nightkin, and right next to him is the super sledge. You have to be careful in this cave though, because there is invisible night stalkers though, and they do a lot of damage, so yeah, look out for that. Oh baby is totally worth it though, as it is one of the strongest melee weapons in the game, and just a very satisfying weapon to be swinging around. This big old rusted super sledge does extra damage, it does weigh quite a bit, and it doesn't have the most item HP. You'd think this one would be like built like a tank and basically be unbreakable, but weirdly enough the super sledge you actually have to fix fairly often. So very cool weapon though, I really do enjoy this. And then our very last unique weapon goes to the X2 antenna. This one's kind of weird because there's no other weapon quite like it, and you're also guaranteed to get this. So I'm going to say this is a 1 out of 5 in order to get. All you have to do is go to Old World Blues and complete the main story. One of the parts in the main story has you go to the X2 area and actually pull the antenna off. This weapon is actually pretty strong though, as it does do extra damage towards robots and power armor, like all of these EMP weapons. Does do actually pretty good damage per hit too, and it has a satisfying thunk noise to it. Not really my favorite melee weapon because it does weigh quite a bit, and the crit chance isn't as good as going with like the unique super sledge. I like that one a little bit more, but still, it's kind of a cool weapon. The two-step goodbye. This one is the unique ballistic fist, and for an overall rating, I would say this one's probably a 2 out of 5 to get. Why? Because it is another Gunrunner's Arsenal weapon, so you just have to go to the Gunrunners and you have to purchase this. That's all you gotta do. Interestingly enough, this one actually does less damage than a regular ballistic fist, but it does have its own unique ability where it also kind of counts as an explosive weapon. When I talked about the unique explosive weapons, there were a few questions about why this one didn't get put there, and honestly I associate it more with unarmed, but technically you are right, it is an explosive and it's also an unarmed weapon. It's one of the few like kind of cross perk weapons like that. Two-step goodbye does have a way higher crit chance at 4 times, as well as on crit, it puts an explosive on the enemy that doesn't really do that much damage on the initial hit. It's only 10 extra damage, but then it does explode, dealing even more damage to everything around it. This is kind of a pro and a con to two-step goodbye, because it also counts towards you if you're within the range of the explosion, which there can be a chance that you are if you're punching stuff, and sometimes this can be kind of awkward in certain areas, but two-step goodbye is a really cool weapon overall. Our next unique weapon is the Cram Opener. This one is the unique Bladed Gauntlet. You can get this one on Little Buster. He is a character that is in Camp McCarran, and you can get this a couple different ways. You can either reverse pickpocket him for something that's better, and then wait for him to unequip it, and then you can steal it off of him. You can also kill him and take it off of him. You could initiate a fight and take it off of him that way too. Or there is another way that you can get this, which is completing the 3-card bounty quest, killing all the named fiends, and then turning in their heads. Once you do this, then Little Buster will go away, and after a little while, he should end up dead somewhere in Freeside. So you can just go around and search for his body there and pick it up off of his corpse if you would like to do it that way. So multiple ways to get this weapon. Overall, it's a decent weapon. It does do extra damage over a Bladed Gauntlet. It is still kind of one of the heavier weapons, and maybe not one of the best unique unarmed weapons to go for, but it's kind of a cool little weapon. For a rating for the Cram Opener, I would say this one's probably like a 3 out of 5. It's kind of standard for a unique weapon to get, maybe even more if you're going to like go out of your way to complete the 3-card bounty quest. Up next we got the Golden Gloves. These ones are the unique boxing gloves, and these ones I would say are probably like a 2 out of 5 in terms of difficulty to get, because they're really not that difficult and you're going to be going to the location of them. Since these can be found at the Lucky 38, this is the big old casino that Mr. House is at. You do need to go there for the main quest at some point, and then he'll tell you about the platinum chip. But the golden gloves are down in the very first floor of the casino once you get there. All you have to do is head off to your right, go up the stairs, and then there is just a picture with the boxing magazine and the boxing gloves there, and then there's also a bunch of alcohol there. There's also a lot of stuff on the first floor of the casino that you can just pick up anyway for free money, which is very nice as well. The golden gloves are kind of interesting because they do have the lowest amount of damage out of any weapon in the game. Boxing gloves and the golden gloves have less damage than your bare hands do, but they do have a chance of knocking enemies down, and when you knock the enemy out with these, they do stay out for a very long time. If you want to go with like a full pacifist build, the golden gloves are actually a great way to ensure that you're not killing anything, because you can just punch them and usually they fall down and then you don't really have to worry about fighting them anymore. So pretty fun there. Our next unique unarmed weapon is Pushy. Pushy I would probably say is like a 3 out of 5 in terms of to get. This is the unique Displacer Glove, and this one you can actually rush right away if you would like to. This one can be found in the Ruby Hill Mines. This is going to be the first mines on your right as you're heading up the road towards Jacobstown. So it's fairly easy to see. Usually there's big horners around it too, and then you just go inside there. There is lake larks inside of the cave. They are kind of dangerous, which is why you may not want to be going for this right away, although there's not a whole ton of them, so if you can kill them quickly, it's not that big of a deal. And then you head towards the back of the cave where you can find a dead prospector, and they have Pushy on them. And Pushy is a fantastic weapon. It is a really, really strong weapon, even more so if you wanted to be going with a low strength build, because Pushy only takes like 2 strength to wield effectively, which is pretty crazy. And it does good damage per second. Overall, it just has really nice stats across the board for an unarmed weapon. A very strong weapon to get overall. Up next, we have the Recompense of the Fallen. This is the unique dog tag fist, which is kind of interesting for an overall rating. I would say this one's probably like a 2 out of 5 in terms to get. It's actually pretty easy to get this one, and you can rush this one as well. This one can be found in Cottonwood Cove. This is where the Legion is taken up, and all you have to do is just go into the commander's area, open up his desk, and then steal these out of there. They will count as stolen whenever you do take these, but it's really easy to take them because half the time he's not even in the room, and the other half the time he's usually sleeping. There's very few hours that he's actually sitting at the desk, and even then you can usually go like behind him and still reach past and interact with the desk. This is an okay weapon to be rushing at the start for an unarmed character, because the damage is pretty decent, damage per second is kind of good, and they do have okay item HP overall. Not necessarily the best. There are some better unarmed weapons than this one, but kind of a cool concept if you want to rush it early. Up next, we have the Fist of Rar, or if you have Wild Wasteland, then it becomes the Fist of the North Rar. So this one, for an overall rating, I would say is probably like a 5 out of 5 in terms to get, because this one is tied to a hard enemy, and you do have to go out of your way to get it. So you can get this one in Lonesome Road. The only place that you can get this is actually where you have to fight Rar. Rar is a unique Deathclaw, and he is very tough. He can kill you very easily, as well as once you go into that cave, you're locked inside of the cave with him. So you're definitely going to want to kill him and then take his hand. Once you have his hand, then you have to go to a workbench, and then you can fashion this into either the Fist of Rar or the Fist of the North Rar. Again, if you have Wild Wasteland and it changes the name, it doesn't actually change any of the stats, though. They are exactly the same. And this is a really powerful weapon. It's a Deathclaw Gauntlet, so it has really high damage per second, and above average crit chance. It's one of my favorite unarmed weapons in the entire game. On top of that, it has another thing going for it, and that is that it counts as a quest item, at least his hand does, so it can't actually be taken away during certain parts of the game. Meaning, if you want to go to Lonesome Road first and get the Hand of Rar, you can then go to like the Sierra Madre, the Dead Money, and then make it there at the workbench, and you can just smuggle this into Dead Money and have a really easy time there. That is something that is really cool about this weapon. Fist of the North Rar is also a reference to Fist of the North Star, if you've ever heard this meme before. Then you know kind of what Fist of the North Star is. There's actually quite a few anime references in New Vegas. I mean, even the cover art is an anime reference, so that's pretty cool. Up next, we have the Industrial Hand. This is one of the unique power fists, kind of. This one functions more like the Ripper or the Chainsaw, where this one is just a saw blade on a power fist. You get this one in Lonesome Road at the Ashton Missile Silo, where you just go there and then it's sitting on a shelf. You can just pick it right up. So for an overall rating, I would say this one's probably like a 3 out of 5 to get. You're going to be going to that area, so it's not very difficult, but Lonesome Road is kind of tough, and this is about halfway through it. So it's going to be awkward to rush this one if you want to go for it. You're kind of better off going for some other unarmed weapons over this one. This one is pretty strong though. Good damage, really good damage per second. Actually has a pretty high crit chance too. It's really bad in VATS, so don't use the Industrial Hand in VATS. Not necessarily because like unarmed is bad in VATS. It's actually really strong in VATS. But the Industrial Hand by itself sometimes locks up the game and sometimes takes a very long time for like the VATS animation to go, so it's really annoying and kind of finicky at times. This one does have the most item health out of any of the unarmed weapons, similar to how like the Chainsaw and the Ripper have really high health because they are essentially fully automatic weapons, and just like those weapons, this one also ignores armor, which is quite good. Next up, we have Embrace the Mantis King. This is the unique Mantis Glove, a really cool weapon and kind of an underrated weapon. This one I would say is a 2 out of 5 to get though, because you just have to buy this one. It comes with the Gunrunner's Arsenal DLC. You just have to go to Mick and Ralph's shop and then you can purchase it from there. Not really all that exciting to get, but it is a very strong weapon. It does really good damage, has a 3 times crit modifier, very high crit damage, and pretty decent item durability overall. It's a weapon that you can do a lot of damage with, especially with a crit build if you have like maxed out luck and finesse and better crits and like ninja on top of that. You can do quite a bit of damage with Embrace the Mantis King. It is a very good weapon. Next up, we have Grease Lightning, one of the unique power fists. This one is also a 2 out of 5 in terms to get, because you can just go right to the Brotherhood bunker and buy this one if you have enough money. It is going to cost you quite a bit, and this is more steps than like the standard gunner or arsenal weapons where you could just go to the gunrunners or Mick and Ralph or Novak or wherever to buy them. This one you do kind of have to be accepted by the Brotherhood to get in, but then once you're there, all you have to do is just talk to the Quartermaster and then you can buy this one. This one does good damage and has a really fast attack speed compared to the other Power Fists. It's much quicker than other ones, so the DPS can actually go up pretty high on this, and it does have really good item HP compared to normal Power Fists as well. Next up, we have Salt Upon Wounds Power Fist. This one I'd probably say is like a 3 out of 5 in terms to get. Similar to a lot of these like DLC weapons, all you have to do for Salt Upon Wounds Power Fist is that you have to complete Zion. That's it. So once you complete Honest Hearts, then you're guaranteed to get like this, Joshua's pistol, Joshua's outfit, Salt Upon Wounds helmet, Daniel's outfit, all of that. You're always guaranteed to get that regardless of which ending you choose. And this weapon's kind of interesting because it does do damage over time, which is kind of on theme for it. It is a cool looking Power Fist. Not way unique compared to the other Power Fists though, in my opinion. So I don't find myself using this one that much, but it is kind of cool overall. Then we have all the gloves from Old World Blues, where first up we have the Corrosive Glove, which you could argue that this one may not technically be unique because there is 2 of them that you can get, but it is kind of different than the regular Scientist Glove, and it's not like the superheated Saturnite Fist where you can just keep making those as long as you find regular Saturnite Fist, but those can keep respawning. So the Corrosive Glove, there is only 2 of them. You can get this either at the waste disposal site where you can just pick this up. It's just on a shelf there. Or you can go and fight the unique spore plant and then it's on its body. So either way, it's not very difficult to get. It does do poison damage and damage over time, which is kind of cool. But aside from that, it's kind of weak compared to other unarmed weapons. So unless you plan on rushing Old World Blues, you may not end up using this. Next up, we have the Sterilizer Glove, which again, technically you can get like 2 of these, but it's still kind of unique. It's not like the regular Scientist Glove. You can get 1 of these at the Y17 medical facility. You do need the sonic emitter and it upgraded so that you can actually knock down the barrier there. Then once you pick this up, there is lobotomites that show up too, so you're gonna have to kill them. The other one of these you can get from the Super Ego. This one is located at Y17. And then once you kill that, then this is on its body. Either way, pretty much the same stats as like the Corrosive Glove, but this one has fire on it. So technically it gets a little bit better if you want to go with like Pyromaniac, but if you're going with Pyromaniac and you want to go unarmed, the Superheated Saturnite Fist is just way stronger than this. It has more damage per second, and more fire damage on top of that. Next up, we have Dr. Klein's Glove. This is one of the Scientist gloves that you can find. This one's kind of weird because it's like a debuffing glove, where if you hit something, it gives it -1 strength and -1 damage threshold for 30 and 60 seconds, respectively. Kind of an odd choice there. This one looks like a regular Scientist glove, but it has Klein's name written across it. You can find this one in House 101 in Higgs Village. You just have to go in there, and then it's found on a shelf. So this is where all the scientists were living before they put their heads in jars. And this is Klein's Glove. It's better than a regular Scientist glove, so again, if you're going with like a dedicated unarmed build and rushing Old World Blues, this is pretty decent. It's not a bad weapon by any means. And then the final glove is Dr. Mobius's Glove, which this one is the most interesting out of the gloves. Mostly because it has Frenzy and Knockback on it when you hit crits, which is pretty good. Damage is okay from it. This one you find in the Forbidden Zone with Dr. Mobius. This can be found on the table on the left-hand side once you come in. It's just sitting there and you can just pick it back up. This one also looks different, where this one's the black glove. And I mean, this one's my favorite of the Scientist gloves. Like, Mobius Glove is, I think, the best, just like he is the best of the scientists there. For a rating for like all of these, they're not very difficult to get. Like, yeah, they're all tied to unique things. So like most of them would be like 4 out of 5s, 3 out of 5, somewhere around there. With Mobius is probably being the most difficult glove to get. Although the Corrosive and the Sterilizer Glove, you do need to go out of your way to get. And you kind of do with Klein's Glove as well. But Higgs Village is safe, and you can rush there right away, as well as if you're doing like all the side quests, then you will need to go down there to grab like Gabe's Bowl, and you might as well be going there because there's a lot of unique items that you can pick up there. Going back to the regular Wasteland, our next unique unarmed weapon is Love and Hate. These are the unique Spike Knuckles. For an overall rating, I'd probably say these are about a 3 out of 5 to get to. These aren't actually that difficult, and you can rush these if you really want to. It might be kind of difficult though, because you do have to go north of Good Springs. The fastest way through there is like through the Kaz doors, but then you have to deal with the Kaz doors, and Kaz doors are terrifying at really any point in the game. So you can do it that way, or you can circle all the way around You can potentially take the shortcut through Sloan. I've talked about that multiple times in different videos. You just go up through like Black Mountain and cut around the side and you don't have to fight anything and then loop back around. But you can at least go to Bonnie Springs where you can find this. This is right near Red Rock Canyon where the Great Khans are. You go out there and there should be 2 unique Viper leaders, which one of them has combat armor, the other one has metal armor. I believe that's metal armor reinforced. And the metal armor guy has a trail carbine. The combat armor girl has love and hate, as well as she also has plasma grenades, making her kind of difficult to fight early on. Both of them are kind of difficult to fight, but if you manage to kill them, then you will get these weapons, and these are some of my absolute favorite unarmed weapons. Like, love and hate is so good. It has really good damage per second. You can sneak these in. It has very low action point cost, really high item HP, and you can fix these with like brass knuckles and spike knuckles. So it just makes a fantastic early game weapon, really for any build. Even if you're not going with an unarmed build, these are still really good just to be carrying around if you don't want to be using your ammo on weaker enemies. Like if you want to be punching ants or maybe some like lower level rad scorpions, you can do that and still like spare all of your ammo for some stronger things. Like, love and hate is really cool. Next unique unarmed weapon is She's Embrace. This one is the unique Yao Guai Gauntlet. For an overall rating for this, I'd probably say this one's like a 4 out of 5 as well. It's not as difficult as like Rar's hand to get. You're not going to as scary a place, but you still have to go out of your way to get this. You can find this if you go up to the Sorrows camp in Zion and you start the quest Rite of Passage. You then have to take drugs and fight a bear, and this kind of messes with your screen. You don't have to go very far from the Sorrows camp for this, luckily. And there's not a whole lot of enemies up there. There can be Yao Guais, there can be the Spore Carrier plants and the Spore Carrier Trog people. Once you kill through them and you go up into that area, then you're going to have to fight She, and she is a flaming Yao Guai. She's very strong, and she can clone kind of multiple of herself, so this can be difficult. I recommend you go and grab like the Survivalist rifle if you didn't bring a strong weapon here, and then you can take her down pretty quick. Once you take her down, then you get her paw, and you take that back to the shaman, and then he will give you this weapon. And for an overall weapon, it's not really that crazy. It does okay damage. The main advantage of this is that it has a ton of item HP. It has like 900 item HP, which is insane. Most weapons don't have that much. The Industrial Hand, I think, has like 1600 HP, but it's a fully automatic weapon. If you want to take She's Embrace just because it's pretty much unbreakable, you can do that if you would really like to. And then our very last unique unarmed weapon is the Paladin Toaster. This is the unique Zap Glove, and this one's pretty cool. This one deals electricity damage and damage over time, and it's actually really easy to get. I would say this was probably like a 2 out of 5 to get. You can actually get this one right outside Helios 1 in the cave that's nearby. You go inside there. There should be 2 to 3 Nightkin, and they do have stronger weapons. They might have bumper swords or like miniguns and stuff. But if you do kill them, then you can find this just laying on a survivor nearby. The damage from it is pretty good, and the fact that it deals like damage over time is pretty nice. And that covers all of the unique unarmed weapons. I will be making this into like a full-length supercut video, including all the unique weapons in New Vegas. That should be pretty fun, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Also, tell me which is your favorite unarmed weapon, just out of all of them. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody!